What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Millionaire in the Making road mapping session. Today's session is actually going to start off with a quick little riddle. And I'm very curious to know what y'all think the answer to this riddle is. So I measure your goals and track your success. With numbers and data, I help you progress. It is I, guiding your business finesse. What am I? And feel free to say it out loud or drop it down in the chat what you think today's topic is based on this riddle.
Budgeting.
That's a great guess. But it's not budgeting. We covered budgeting before. But technically it aligns with budgeting. So, you're close. Take one more guess. Anyone else want to guess what today's topic may be to finish off the year with our last session? Yeah, and this one's a pretty tough one. I'll give you this one this time. So the answer is, drum roll please, key performance indicator. And I know no one would have guessed
never would have guessed that.
Exactly. No one would have guessed that. So I do this with my students when I'm teaching, and no one gets this one. KPIs is something that we don't really talk about. We don't talk about this at all. What is a KPI? And pretty much today we're just going to be going over really understanding the importance of KPIs to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward whenever you can and make sure you're making financially sound decisions. So let's keep moving. So today I want to introduce you to some essentials when it comes to KPIs. And these are key metrics that'll guide you throughout your financial journey. Here at the MITM Club, or Millionaires in the Making, we want to make as much money as we can. And the crazy thing is, I say this over and over to folks, it's that $1 million is going to pass through your hands throughout your lifetime. The question is, how much of it will you keep and make work harder than you do? So that KPIs is going to be very crucial to making that a reality. So we have 6 key KPIs to look at. Savings rate. How much are you actually saving anytime that you get paid? For those of you that have been here before, you know that I tell everyone, make sure you pay yourself first at least 10%. We have budget adherence, right? How well are you sticking to your budget? And I know we went in depth on budgeting one of our previous sessions. So how well are you doing with your budget? Credit score, what is your credit looking like? Debt to income ratio. This is a big thing that a lot of people don't think about. Is your debt outweighing your income? They say that on average, Canadians are spending $1.70 for every dollar that they make. We don't want to be average, okay? We're millionaires in the making over here, right? So is your debt to income ratio good? What's your net worth? And when's the last time you thought about what that is and how much that is? And what do you want it to be? And what's your emergency fund level? Which is one of the main things that, last time we talked about when we're talking about the 11 stages of wealth. So each section we're gonna go into definitions, we're gonna talk about the importance of the KPIs and specific tips to help you get through them and improve the metrics. So let's jump into it. Now, a lot of folks may have, come out of college recently, or maybe you're still in school, I don't know. But some things that folks that are in college or young folks end up having to face is managing tuition, managing living expenses, and student loans. Now, the last 2 things are things that most of us are still dealing with on an ongoing basis. Our living expenses, once you're an adult, are things that we have to deal with all the time, no matter what. And a lot of us have student loans that we carry over for years. How many people here got some student loans? I know I'm almost clear of mine, but I got student loans, Just put a 1 in the chat if you have student loans. Yeah. And a lot of us end up having, one. Yeah, a lot of us end up having student loans that we have to deal with and figure out how to manage, right? So developing a strong understanding of your personal finances now will set the foundation for a prosperous future. No matter where you are in your financial journey, getting a hold on things now is going to make sure that moving forward, you're in a better place. All right, you're able to move with some finesse. So as you master these, I kind of said this already, but you'll be able to avoid pitfalls. One of the biggest things that people don't understand when it comes to finances is you're just trying to not make mistakes. Okay, if you make less mistakes, even if you're not doing everything perfectly fine, if you can avoid some pitfalls, you'll be better off in the long run. And this is absolutely huge. So I have a quick question for everyone. How many of you currently track any of your financial metrics, like spending or savings or debt to income ratio or any of these KPIs that I mentioned? How many of you guys are currently tracking? And just put a 2 in the chat if you're currently tracking, and put a 1 in the chat if you're not currently tracking. All of the ones, yes. Yeah. So hopefully by the end of today, you make a decision to start to track, and we'll see what happens. Now, in order to be average, and this is something that I learned a little while ago. Actually, let me rewind. I remember back when I was in college, I wasn't paying much attention to my finances until I realized how quickly my small expenses were really messing me up. Okay, when I was first stepping into my adult world, they threw so many credit cards at me. They're like, hey, yo, you want this sweater with the college name on it? Yeah, just open this credit card. Hey, yo, you want this stress ball? Yeah, open this other credit card. And I was so stupid that I had like 7 credit cards in like the first 2 weeks of college, right? And I ended up being in like $70,000 of debt so quickly because I was using it to take girls on dates. I was using it to pay for my car, my little beater piece of crap car that I should never have had in the first place. I was making all the mistakes possible, right? And when I decided to start tracking my spending and being aware of where my money is going and flowing, it did a 180, right? At this point, it actually carried me through the lockdowns when everything was going crazy for everyone. My life was pretty okay, right? I was pretty maintaining my stuff, and I was able to take better control of my future. So I do want to show you guys how to do the same thing for yourselves today. But before we can do that, I want to talk about what average looks like. And at the MITM Club, we don't believe in being average, but it's very important to know what average looks like, to know what not to be. So to be average, your annual income should equal 2,000 times your age. Well, whatever that ends up being for you. So for you, what would that be? What is your age right now? And you could just do times 2 and then add some zeros to it. And that should be your income right now. So for me, I'm just turning 29. Where's my calculator? Because I'm slow when it comes to math sometimes. Yeah, we talk about finance over here, but sometimes we use some assistance, right? So 2,000 times 29. So I should be making $58,000 per year to be average. And I don't know when the last time that I made $58,000 in a year was. I think I've gone much further beyond that. But yeah, that's something to think about. Let's say you're 24 years old. You would end up needing about $48,000 per year to be average. What does that look like per month? That means that you're making about $4,000 per month. And if we break it down even more, because we like to break things down to the smallest number and make it easy to understand and wrap our heads around, you need $1,000 a week. Or if you're working a full-time job, you're making about $25 an hour. This is to be average. And if your goal is to make an additional $22,000 every time you're getting older, every year, you should be looking to increase at least by $2,000 to be average. You'll see what makes sense and how that can actually work for you. I would say, and I'll actually add this on, because there's this one person that I was watching years ago. He's saying you should be aiming to have 4,000 minimum times your age. This will make you above average. And he was talking in USD. So here in Canada, I think $4,000 US is looking at like 6,000 Canadian. To really push yourself, to really say, yo, I want to live. I'm trying to be that person. You know, I actually want to live that lifestyle and build up that life for myself. So it's your responsibility to really set the metric for you and make sure that it's a reflection of the life that you want to live and that you expect to live. Now, let's talk a little bit about savings rate. What exactly is savings rate? Well, your savings rate ends up being a percentage of what you save. Kind of straightforward. Every single month, you want to save a certain amount. I tell everyone, pay yourself first. If you don't listen to anything else that I say, if you don't care about anything else that I say in any of these talks, I will continuously tell you, please pay yourself first because you deserve it. And pay yourself first doesn't mean
put a bunch of money into a savings account and then go and buy those shoes later on. It doesn't mean go and save a bunch of money, then go buy a car. No, it means this money that you've put aside is only to acquire assets that will continue to make you more money so that your money can work harder than you do. What percentage are you going to save per month out of all of your income? This is a simple but powerful metric that if you start to track your savings rate, the percentage of money you're saving every month, you will actually be able to predict what your future will be like. Compounding is a beautiful thing, and you'll actually be able to see how your money is working for you and where it's working for you. Now, savings is a foundational aspect of financial health. A consistent saving habit helps you build a financial cushion, prepares you for unexpected expenses, and provides the capital for future investment and opportunity. The craziest thing about this, I like to say I'm addicted to saving because I actually find it so much fun. I look for more and more creative ways to save more money. I remember one year I decided I'm not spending any $5 bills that I get. So if I go to the store with cash, I have $50 in my pocket, and I decide to go buy a cookie and they give me $45 and change all in $5 bills. Well, that sucks. I can no longer spend that. And I used to use giant protein tubs of empty protein containers. And I'd cut a hole in the top and super glue the top shut. And I'd shove money in there until I couldn't put anything else in. And then I take it out and spend it on something, which was the part that I made a mistake. I should have invested that. I was using it to go on vacations and stuff. Research shows that individuals who save regularly are more likely to achieve financial stability and independence. Starting this habit in college or earlier in your life can have a compounding effect over your lifetime. Compound interest is one of the coolest, the most important things that let's put it this way. Einstein says that compound interest is one of the 8 wonders of the world. He also says, if memory serves, he who understands it uses it, and he who doesn't understand it is used by it. Because compounding works in both ways. And I think once we talk a little bit more about debt to income ratio, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, to calculate your savings rate, you're going to divide the amount of money that you're saving by every single month and then times it by 100. This is kind of a simple way to remember what your savings rate is. Your savings rate is a percentage that you're putting away, and then we go through that every single month. And actually, here's a proper breakdown of it. So if we have $200 divided by 1,000 equals 0.2. So that means your savings rate here would be a 0.2% savings rate. And your goal is to increase this number. And what does that end up meaning? Oh, that's what it ends up meaning. I jumped ahead of myself. This means that you have a 20% savings rate. Here are 5 ways to increase your savings rate. The first thing, set clear savings goals. We talked a lot about this during the budgeting session. If you missed the budgeting workshop, it's going to be on YouTube, so you guys can check it out over there. You want to actually set your specific savings goals. How much money do you want to save? I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak preview of this. Throughout the Money Mastery Dash, there is a day that is about setting goals and saying, what goals do you want to reach? And over the 3 years that I've been running the Money Mastery Dash, a lot of folks end up getting stuck on the goals day. Well, you can set a smaller goal. I just want to increase my savings rate from 0 to 1 or 0 to 0.1. Whatever number makes sense for you, that's a really attainable, manageable goal. Here's another one. Automate your savings. I talk a lot about now technology is so wonderful that you don't have to think about saving. You could actually pre-program it into your bank accounts and have a small percentage going aside somewhere. There are small things like roundups. Roundups are wonderful. You can increase your savings rates tremendously by rounding up your purchases. This means that you bought a drink for $4.93. They round it up. That 7 cents goes into your savings. It's very small. You could say I want to round to the nearest dollar, to the nearest 5, to the nearest 10, and you'll start to have more, you'll start to increase your savings rate without trying. Another way is to reduce unnecessary expenses. If you, I don't know, I was watching a video recently and this guy's drinking Starbucks coffee every day. He's like, if you were to drink Starbucks every day or you were to invest that $5 every day, look at how much more money you would have, right? So reduce your unnecessary expenses. This one is my favorite because I don't necessarily like to shrink all the time. I like to expand whenever possible. So increase your income. And I know I say it like it's so simple, but it actually is really simple. We all have a lot of skills. We all have things that we're better than anyone else at. There's so many ways to make money and to increase your income even by a little bit. Increasing by something as small as $50 per month. Compounding, $50 per month, $600 per year. Across 10 years, it's $6,000. But if it's compounding every single year, you'll watch that balloon to a sizable sum. So increase your earnings, no matter how small it may feel or seem, it'll be good for you. Track and adjust. You might be saving and you're on a certain trajectory, and you might be, maybe you're doing a great job, maybe you're doing a terrible job. You need to track and then adjust and say, is this working for me? Can I maintain this and sustain it or not? We're gonna shift gears a little bit and talk about debt to income ratio. So the definition of debt to income ratio, DTI, is a financial metric that compares your total monthly debt payments to your gross monthly income. Gross monthly income is everything coming in before all your deductions. Now, this is expressed as a percentage and helps lenders assess your ability to manage monthly payments and repay debt. Your debt to income ratio is something that they're going to look at when you want to buy a car, when you want to buy a house, when you want to borrow any money. And it's better if you keep track of your debt to income ratio so you even know what conversations to be having and what ones not to be having, right? You don't want people checking your credit and giving you a hard ding. Now, this is why it matters. A low DTI indicates that you have a healthy balance between debt and income, making you a more attractive borrower to lenders. This means like y'all's probably heard of like an 800 credit score or whatever credit score, and people are like, how do you have that? What? Like, how does that? They have a low DTI, and the better it is, the better that they treat you when you go to do pretty much anything. So this is how we would look at the calculation here. All right, pretty straightforward again. Let's say your debt is 600 divided by your total income for the month. Once again, we're at 0.2. 0.2 times 100 equals 20%. This means your DTI is 20%. Is it a good number? Is it a bad number? You want it to be as low as possible. If your DTI is the same as your savings rate, you're not really moving forward. You're kind of at a net zero. And if you think about that, that's 40% of your income. It might not be the best thing for you. Here's 5 ways to improve your DTI. Reduce your debt. Whether you pay it off, whether you do a proposal. I don't suggest doing a bankruptcy, but some people are in a situation where they do need to do a bankruptcy. But reduce your debt. Try to get rid of it, as much of it as possible. Once again, increase your income. Like, increasing your income more times than not is the answer to most of your problems. If you're having a problem with money, you probably are not making enough money. If you made more money, you probably would have less of a problem with money, okay? So increase your income. And one of the things that I do want to share with y'all is we're millionaires in the making. You're going to have $1 million pass through your hands throughout your lifetime, and I want to help you make more money. We do have an affiliate program now where when you come to sessions like this and you invite people and they want to get involved with anything, there's another opportunity for you to increase your income so we can make money together. That's the game plan. Avoid new debt. You don't want to take on new debt if your DTI is getting high. Avoid opening up new credit cards. Avoid taking new loans. Avoid. Don't get any new debt till you get the debt you currently have under control and you lower your debt to income ratio. Budget effectively. And effectively is subjective to different people. You want to budget in a way that you're comfortable, that you're happy, that you're like, hey, I'm not stressed, I'm blessed. Budget effectively. And I know we already really went in depth on budgeting, so I'm not really gonna touch on this, but monitor your DTI regularly. Anytime it comes to finances, anytime it comes to anything that you care about, you should be monitoring it regularly. You should be checking in on it. I suggest that folks do it at least twice a month. If you get paid bi-weekly, do it bi-weekly. Just do a quick little review, 10, 20 minutes, just say, hey, what are my numbers looking like? Or find someone to do it for you. If you don't have the time to or the desire to. Like I've been offloading as many things in my life as I can. Anything that I don't want to do anymore, I find someone to do it for me, because I'd rather spend my time doing things that I enjoy. So if you don't like doing it, pay someone to do it. If you can't pay someone to do it yet, then you're gonna have to do it for a little bit till you can pay someone to do it for you. Let's talk about net worth. Net worth this is probably one of the simpler calculations out of everything. It's just pretty straightforward. Your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. Okay, you have your assets here, you got your liabilities here. Assets minus liabilities, net worth. So here, the example is you have $50,000 in assets and $30,000 in liabilities, so your net worth is $20,000. So when you see that they're like, hey, this person is on the Forbes list, this person, Elon Musk, has a net worth of this many billions of dollars. They're saying he has this many more assets compared to his liabilities, because he probably has a ton of debt. There's a lot of these guys that have a lot of money, but they leverage debt, but they do so in a way that their assets are always just outpacing their liabilities. Okay, if you guys watch Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he talks a lot about how he has millions and millions and millions of dollars in debt, but the liability is in real estate, which for him technically is an asset, so they end up balancing themselves out, and that asset that he needed the liability to get ends up getting him a positive cash flow. And that's a whole other thing we can go deep into, but just being aware of what your net worth is important. So here are some strategies to increase your net worth. 1, boost your savings, invest in assets, and enhance your skills. You are your greatest asset. You are the most important asset in your life. You should constantly be looking for ways to improve your skill set and what you can do so that you have more to give back to the community. The more that you have to give back to community, the higher price and the more money you can ask for. It'll be easy for you to switch from job to new employment if that's what works for you, because you can say, hey, I have more skills, pay me this or I'm walking. And sometimes get a shop around regardless. They say you'll get a 15% increase, up to a 15% increase in salary if you switch jobs every 2 years or something like that. But yeah, boost your savings, invest in assets, enhance your skills. What else can we do? Well, pay down your high interest debt, refinance or consolidate loans, and avoid new debt like the plague. Clear as much debt as you can. Debt that is not making you more money, that's the caveat. If you have a mortgage, it doesn't necessarily make sense to pay off the mortgage faster. Sometimes it doesn't work in your favor because the future value of money is less. The future value of the dollar is less. So you have to plan how you pay back your mortgage and if it makes sense to put more money into the mortgage or not, or just hold on to it and leverage to buy new houses. But if it's high interest, get rid of that. If y'all are going at money marks like I tell you guys not to, or if you're going to payday loans like I tell you not to, those are high interest. You're taking out too many credit card loans, those are high interest. Get rid of those as quickly as possible. What else can we do? Well, another thing that we can do to increase our net worth is regularly review, set specific goals, and adjust. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record, guys. It ends up being so much of the same thing over and over and over again. And sometimes just reminding folks what to do is more important than giving you new sauce. Sometimes it takes time in different ways for us to hear it, for it to really stick. So let's keep it moving and switch to our next topic, which is budget adherence. So here are strategies to improve your budget adherence. And what does this mean before we go into it? Last time when we were talking about budgeting, we said we're going to build our roadmap, review, organize, align, define, and then have your massive action plan. That was our roadmap. And a part of it, when we align and define, we have to go back and review and say, are we sticking to it? Is it working for me or is it not working for me? And if it's not working for me, then change it. And if it's working for you, maybe see how you can tweak it to make it a little bit better. But the step one is to list out all of your income and all of your expenses. You should do this at least once for 30 days. Just look back 30 days. You don't have to actively do it every single day. It's the end of the month or it's the beginning of a new month. Look at the last 30 days and see what's happening. It will give you an idea of what 12 months will look like. Step 2, categorize your expenses. What is your living expenses? Like, what is your food? What is your transportation? What is your entertainment? What is your miscellaneous? What are your clothing expenses? Categorize everything. And you can pick categories that work for you. Something that's simple for you to follow, or if you want, I've shared this with some of y'all. I don't think I don't think you got it. ST, I'm not sure who ST is, but I don't think you got it. I'll drop the budgeting template that I have for you guys. I'll drop it in the chat so you all can have access to it too. But you want to categorize your expenses, and this will kind of fast track you so you don't have to make everything from scratch. It's a really nice spreadsheet that I made. It's super easy to do, and eventually we're going to have our own MITM Club app, but that's coming soon. Okay, set your spending limits. It's great to spend money sometimes, but just know your limit and play within it, okay? Set the limits that you want to have so you're not going over budgets, you're not going all over the place. And be firm with yourself. Present you's main job is to make future you live a luxurious life. From now on, your new boss is not your boss at work. The person that's in charge of you is not your parents. The person that's in charge of you is not your teachers. The person that is in charge of you is future you. It's you 20, 30, 40, 50 years from this exact moment. So the things that you're doing now, you should do them with that person in mind. So the spending limits you're setting, it's like, hey, yeah, I want to make sure that that person is living a luxurious life. I don't need these things right now because I'm trying to set me up for success in the future. That's the biggest hack that a lot of people don't do, and they end up being financial failures. Here's the next thing. Track your spending. Keep track. We already talked about that. Review and adjust. Talked about this. Now, you can use budgeting tools. You can automate your payments and your savings. So one thing that I actually learned recently, not only can you automate savings and the payments in your bank, but you can automate money moving between your own bank accounts. I didn't know that was a thing. And when I say you can automate money going between your own bank accounts, is you can automate e-transfers. So what I do now, I have my main account. I use Tangerine because I'm not trying to pay any fees. I like it. It's great. Haven't had a problem. I've had all sorts of problems like TD and all these other big banks. Tangerine's been good to me. Right? Some people it's not good to. It's unfortunate, but it's been good to me. But I use EQ Bank because, well, past tense used. I'm looking for a newer one that has a better interest rate now. But they have the highest daily interest rate compared to any bank. So what I would do is I would set up something so that when money hits my account, it automatically gets sent over to my EQ. And my EQ was my emergency fund, but now and you should have an emergency fund that you can access quickly. So if shit hits the fan, you can pull out money like immediately, right? This is my small emergency fund. But my small emergency fund was gaining interest all the time because I was automating it and I wasn't thinking about it anymore. Monitor your discretionary spending. Okay, the spending that you have for fun, things that you have just for the sake of having, monitor that. Plan for your regular expenses. Right now is the holidays. How many of you guys are going to be going holiday shopping or have already gone holiday shopping? Drop a 1 in the chat or a thumbs up in the chat if you're doing holiday shopping this year. All right. discretionary spending, especially this time of the year, ST says nope. I hear that. Sometimes we like no holiday shopping for nobody this year. Everyone's been bad. They're getting cold. We want to plan for the discretionary spending, right? So a lot of the times you're able, well, you know what's going to come up throughout the year. You could plan the holidays from January and have money that you put aside that's earning interest that you can actually, but anywho, I mentioned this because discretionary spending, you should, what do we call it? We call it the living wealthy account. So you should be able to have fun with your money, right? And just monitor, don't go too crazy. Plan for irregular expenses. That's also this time of year. And stay flexible. You don't have to be super rigid. In fact, in the past, when I was super, super rigid on myself, it actually messed me up. I was so, I got so excited about saving that I was putting off paying off debt. That was the mistake that I made when I was younger. I think I was like in my early 20s, 22, 23. I was excited about saving. And I was like, I need to save more than I need to pay off this debt. Forget this credit card. But if it's a high interest credit and it doesn't make sense to save, you're losing more money on the credit. That was younger me being a big dummy. Next up, let's talk about emergency fund. Your savings account specifically set aside for unexpected expenses or financial emergencies. I already started talking about this. Sometimes I jump ahead of myself without knowing what's coming next, and I'm right on course. So this is your calculation for savings and your emergency fund. Your bills for 1 month times 3 to 6 or more. Pretty simple, right? Look at all of your bills, look at all of your expenses, look at all of everything for 1 month and times that by 3 or 6. Because if anything happens, you want to have the peace of mind and the comfort to say, at least for the next 3 months, if I make $0, my lifestyle will not change. At least for the next half a year, if I make $0, my lifestyle will not change. I mean, by month 5 or 6, you're probably going to start sweating and saying, man, I need to make some money quick. But at least you have this cushion for you. And when we look at the 11 stages of wealth, having 3 to 6 months of emergency fund is actually going to put, with no debt, right? 3 to 6 months with no debt will put you at level 4 on the 11 stages of wealth. So let's say your expenses are $2,000 per month. That means your minimum in your emergency account should be $6,000. And if you start to see anything dip below $6,000, you should start to feel stressed. You should start to, if you're not at your expenses are $2,000 a month and you're not at $6,000, you should feel stressed. And you better go and work to make some money to be able to be at $6,000. I want you guys to have that security. And if it does take time, I know in the where we're at right now in the world, a lot of people are struggling now more than ever. We just came out of the lockdowns. I know it feels like it's a little while ago, but it just happened. A lot of people are still recovering. So if you don't have 6 months or 3 months or 6 months, it's okay, but work towards it and maybe have this as one of your initial goals, all right? Just 3 months. Give yourself that cushion. Ideally, for the MITM Club, we want to lean more towards 6 months. And if you have this put aside in a high interest account, you'll be pretty blessed. Now, the MITM standard really should be a year, $24,000. That's how much you would want to have put aside, because then you could coast for a while and say, like, I'm not really worried about making money right now. I could focus on other things, especially if you're a business owner, especially if you're a creative and an artist, especially if you work in a place that's somewhat seasonal. You want to have the freedom to say, well, I don't really care what happens for the next year. And that peace of mind will allow you to look at more opportunities. It will allow you to see more opportunities. Not just look, but actually see, because there's a difference between looking and seeing. You'll be able to attract more opportunities to you, in fact. So this is why, yes, 3 months is a great start. Congratulations. 6 months, ideal. About a whole year. I think 1 year will put you at the 5th stage of wealth. And in a high interest savings account, you're blessed. You'll just watch that grow. And the cool thing about your emergency fund means that it kind of turns into your FU money. Because if you constantly are putting a percentage of your money into your emergency fund, it grows and it grows and it grows to the point where it's like, I probably shouldn't have it just sitting in this account. I probably should make it make more money for me. And you can start investing in very, very safe things. Like, you don't want to just put it in random things that are locked up for 5-6 years. So set your savings goal. Automate your savings. Reduce non-essential spending. Use windfalls wisely. Now, what is a windfall? A windfall is when something unexpected happens that leads to you having more money than you thought you would have. A windfall is you had a rich uncle that passed away and he had in his will or life insurance thing, he left you a bunch of money. A windfall is you just won the lottery. A windfall is you slipped and fell and hurt yourself. You got paid out. Or you came up with a great idea and someone bought the idea from you and they paid you a bunch of money. These are all windfalls. A windfall is just a large sum of money came into my life that I was not expecting. If a large money comes into your life that you're not expecting, please do not spend that money for at least 6 months. Put it in an account and don't think about it for 6 months. Okay? I know if you win the lottery, you want to buy your mom a house and your friend this car and you want to go travel around the world, you want to do all these things, don't. Put it away for 6 months. Continue working as if you never got it and then see what happens. Forget that the money is even there. This is how we start to use windfalls wisely, and this is how we become good stewards of money. Everyone here is becoming a better and better steward of money. Steward? Yeah. And the better you are at managing cash, the better you are at being a good steward of cash, the more it wants to come to you and spend more time with you, the more of it flows. And then always earn extra income. Always earn extra income. This is the best way to build your emergency fund. Sometimes, hey, if your KPIs are low and you're not making 2,000 times your age, you probably should maybe have to get another job. Maybe you're in the season of life where you should be working 2-3 times harder than you currently are. I know when I've been in these seasons of my life where I'm like, I need to make more money now. This is not acceptable. I need more. It's not enough. I'll go pick up whatever jobs I need to, or I'll figure out new products, or I'll figure out new ways to help and serve my community, and I'll figure out how to make it flow. And I invite you guys all to do the same thing. So we're gonna have a small recap. First thing was we have your savings rate. Next one we have is your debt ratio. We have I'm losing all my words now. Yeah, we have your assets minus your liabilities. And then the last one we just had is your emergency fund and how much of emergency fund you should have. And that pretty much concludes today's workshop. Does anyone have any questions? Questions, comments? Okay, so we have no questions for today. So I'm assuming that you guys got a lot of value from today's session. So this is the last session we have for this year. Okay, we're not gonna have another one until next year. It's gonna be so far away. But one of the things. Oh wait, before I do go, let me drop this in the chat for you guys. We had budgeting. So 2 things. In the new year, what we're about to do, we're gonna be building that's what's up. I'm glad you're taking notes. That's amazing. We're gonna be working on some goal setting. Last year, we had a really, really, really great goal setting, and I know everyone does it. It's that new time of year. But when your dreams are possible when you write them down. It's one of the biggest things that I found for myself. It's hilarious. I was going through this book some of my old books with my girl, and it turns out that, let me stop sharing this screen real quick. It turns out that all of my goals I actually was making a reality. I said in one of my goal books that I want to have interesting pets. I'm like, that's a weird way to put it. Say you want interesting pets, and here I have a green keelbellied lizard and a sphinx cat and all sorts of other things running around my house. It's crazy, but I wrote it down. I wrote it down back when I was like 15. I said I want interesting pets, and here we are. You know, I said I wanted to make a certain amount of money every single month, and I hit that goal and didn't realize it. So we are going to be going through a whole workshop on how to actually build out your vision. We're going to go through something called vision casting, and it's going to be there's going to be a lot going on. So make sure, either if you put your email in the chat, I will send you a personal invite so you guys don't have to pay for the tickets, because it's going to be on Eventbrite. There's going to be tickets on Eventbrite. So if you drop your email in the chat, I'll make sure that you have access. And for the two folks, I almost have it. Just give me a second. Just want to pull up this budgeting sheet for y'all's so that you have access. Now, when you get this sheet, what I want you to do not request access. Do not try and type in it. It's not going to work. What you're going to do is you're going to click on, I'll actually show you exactly what to do. Hold on. If you guys haven't gotten sheets like this before, let me put you on some game. All right. Anytime someone sends you a Google document like this, okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on File. You're gonna click on Make a Copy. All right. File, make a copy, and you're blessed. And this is a sheet that is from the Money Mastery Dash to help you master your cash in 5 days or less. And it's day 4 to help you get organized with your money. So you guys can utilize this. Hope you find value in it. And if there's no questions today and it was informative, that's wonderful. Thank you. I always love the feedback. I'll see you guys in January. So hope you guys have a great holidays. Stay safe. Stay blessed by the best. And I'll see y'all soon. Make sure you smash that link, because I'm gonna fly out just now. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome, Frank. You're welcome, Nira. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate y'all's being here. Otherwise, it'd just be some guy talking to his computer by himself. Yes, thanks, Rewind. I'm glad you're here. That's what's up. All right. Peace out, y'all.
Give them the creme de la creme whenever I spit that hot shit. Ain't no lose or draw, winner's the only option. Till I'm balling like Stockton, I'm locked in. Researching the best stock tips, fuck gossip unless it makes a profit.